There are so many people that are just getting into firearms, that are understanding that they may need to defend themselves and they want to buy a firearm. You know, with the break-ins, with home invasions, with all the different things that happen, you know, people are more and more becoming aware that a firearm is the great equalizer. But firearms are not cheap. And if you really want to buy a good quality firearm, they're very expensive. So we're going to look at the 3 top guns for self-defense if you're on a serious budget. First on the list, and if I could only have one firearm, just one, that's all I could afford, the first thing I would buy is a handgun. Having a good handgun is really important. It's important for self-defense, personal self-defense. You can use it for home defense. You can use it for whatever you need, but it's really a very defensive weapon. And the first thing you need to see to is yourself. They're very concealable. They're easy to hide. You can put it in your car without attracting attention because you can slip it in your waistband. You can put it in your glove compartment, and you can pack it away somewhere. It's easier to hide. The handgun is number 1 on the list. And this is a Car CW45. Now, they make this, of course, in the 9mm and the 40 caliber. But one of the things I like about Car particularly is that they did not build their business on the budget handgun. Their first handguns were premium, and they still make that line. And so they've taken their knowledge and they've already proven that they know how to make quality, and they've just made more economical versions. And that's one of the things that I really like about the Car. This CW45 is an excellent pistol, and it compares very well to the Glock 36. In fact, I did a comparison review on it. And to be honest with you, I think I favored the Car a little bit over the Model 36. And the price is around $150 less. Now, the CW45 runs about $350. So for the money, I think that the CW series is excellent. Now, this is a concealable handgun. I mean, you could actually carry this concealed. But if you're wanting something a little smaller, they're making a lot of little 380s that are around the $250 range. This is a little IO Hellcat, and it's around the $250 range. It shoots 380. It's very small, very thin. So this would also be a choice, which, you know, Taurus makes one. Of course, the Kel-Tec brand. Kel-Tecs, there's a ton of different models. They're very reasonable. Ruger makes a lot of very nice little handguns. And then you've got Bersa, and of course you've got Charter Arms revolvers. So, you know, you have some handguns in the $250 to $350 range. Now, another option is military surplus firearms. Now, this is a Ballester Molina, and a few years ago when I bought this pistol, it was only $225. You can find Makarovs and all kind of different CZ variants for very reasonable prices. And as they become scarce, the prices go up. These Ballester Molinas now are running between the $450 and $500 range, if you can find them. And so all these military handguns especially will continue to go up in value. There's a whole lot that come into the country right at first, and as time goes on, they will dry up. So finding the right handgun is getting out there, doing your research, and finding what suits you best. One thing to really consider too, if you're on a budget, go with 9mm. Don't go with the 45 because it's more expensive. You know, check out how much your magazines are going to cost you. You know, if you're only getting one magazine with the gun, you need to really look to see what the prices are for extra magazines. A semi-automatic really has an advantage because of the way it loads, and you can quick reloads over a revolver, and you can usually get more rounds in the gun itself. So there's some things that you need to consider, not just price, but also some of the outside things. Reliability is very important, especially in the lower quality firearms. That's why you need to do your research. Get online, check out different firearms, see if they're having a lot of trouble. You know, every company has some issues. So just because you see 1 or 2 reviews doesn't mean that much about the gun itself. It's when you see a lot of bad reviews. Also, accuracy. Check to see how accurate the pistol is, and you can find that also online. Look at different reviews. I've reviewed all 3 of these guns and a lot of the Kel-Tecs, Tauruses, Rugers, and everything else. So there's a lot of different ways you can find out about those handguns. One thing too is, though, if you find a gun and you're having a little trouble with it, maybe you inherited a pistol. One of the things you can do there is to, you know, polish up the feed ramp a little bit, make sure that you have it lubricated well so that it will function well, and make sure you do good quality ammo. One of the things about having an extra magazine is sometimes you have problems with the magazine. In fact, that's usually the problems for malfunctions is through the magazine. If you have two magazines, you're able to test to see if it's the magazine or the pistol. But to me, the least price for decent quality in a handgun is High Point. They run about $160. Yes, they're ugly as sin, but they work, they function, they're reliable with ball ammo. So if you're really at the bottom of the barrel, you can spend just $160 and get yourself protected. The first handgun I ever bought was a Rossi Model 88. It was a stainless steel 38 Special. I loved that gun. I shot over 5,000 rounds through that pistol. And years later, I just traded it. And that's one of the things. You can start out low, you can even with a High Point, and you can sell it, and then you can apply that to your next handgun purchase. Next is the shotgun. A good pump shotgun. They're very reasonable. You can go to pawn shops and find good shotguns for around the $250 range. This is a CZ612. It's an excellent shotgun. They run about $265, brand new in the box. In fact, this is the shotgun that I keep for home defense in my closet. I have a Remington 870 and also have a Mossberg 500. Love those shotguns. But for the price, you really can't beat this little CZ612. Make sure that you read the reviews again on how they function, because you buy some shotguns that are really cheap and you may have some issues with them, and that's one of the things you don't want. But the reason why I really love the shotgun for number 2 is because it is the best home defense weapon that you can buy. You can defend your home easier with a 12 gauge shotgun, or if you just don't really like the recoil, maybe you're light framed or you're a female, you want to go with a 20 gauge. Now, one of the things I'll warn you about is when you are picking a shotgun is 12 gauge is going to be the most prolific. You're going to be able to find ammunition easier. 20 gauge is not too far behind, but 12 gauge is the most popular shotgun. If you're not careful, you go with a 410 or a 28 gauge or 16. Sometimes ammunition can be more difficult to find. Also, the good thing about a good pump shotgun is the barrels are interchangeable, and you can pull this barrel off, put a longer barrel on for hunting, throw your 18 or 20 inch barrel back on for self-defense, and it's almost like having two guns in one. But now, if your budget is bare bones, a good single shot shotgun will do. And you can typically find a good single shot shotgun for $100 or less. In fact, a friend of mine just bought some single shot shotguns for about $70 a piece. No, they're not fast. Yes, you just break it down, you shoot one shell, but the reloading can be done pretty quickly with a little bit of practice. And I'll tell you what, 12 gauge, even one at a time, is very devastating. But the one problem that we have here with a pistol and a shotgun only is that we only really have about 50 yards range, unless you put slugs in your shotgun, and then really 75 to max out 100. So really, you've got very limited range with these two firearms. But a good rifle is number 3. And it doesn't have to be an AR-15 or an AK-47 or even an SKS, because those firearms have become pretty expensive. If you're really on a budget, a good Mosin Nagant rifle, and these run $150. In fact, I paid $150 for this rifle. It's in almost new condition. In fact, I think this is in unissued. I doubt that it's even been fired. But for $150, what's going to happen with this, and the big advantage of having a rifle, is that again, with a shotgun or a pistol, you have very limited range. With a rifle like this, we were shooting 400 yards with rifles like these and hitting 8-inch steel. And they will go a lot farther than that. In fact, it's very comparable to a 30-06. To be honest with you, these rifles can hit out to 800 yards and beyond. So one of the things about a home defense situation, especially in SHTF, where law has really broken down, is that someone could get 100 yards from you with a .22 rifle and pin you down and your family. With a good rifle like this, you're able to answer and return fire. And a lot of these surplus rifles come with accessories. Here we have a little ammunition pouch, and not only ammunition pouch, but also in there is a cleaning kit and all the tools you need to be able to maintain your rifle. And also, of course, this was made to carry ammunition. And you can take stripper clips and take your ammo and put it down in here, and it gives you something to be able to carry your ammo on. You can slip that around your belt. And it also comes with a nice bayonet and sling. And what that does is it saves you money. This may not be the pouch you want, but it's a great pouch to start out with. With the sling already purchased, you don't have to buy all those things to go onto your rifle. In fact, In our preparedness group, one of the things that we did, I told everyone, because they weren't all gun guys there, wasn't people with a lot of guns. They were just people that were concerned. And of course, first they bought their handgun, then they bought a shotgun or already had a shotgun. And I told everybody, I said, the next thing we need to buy is a good rifle. And we went up to my buddy at South Carolina Gun Company, and he carries a lot of Mosin Nagants and a lot of other surplus rifles. And we went up there and bought a bunch of his rifles, bought a bunch of ammunition together, which leads us to our next point. Now, to me, aside from the price of the rifle, one of the biggest advantages of buying an old Mosin Nagant is the price of the ammo. You know, you have a very effective ammo, again, about like a 30-06, and typically you can buy about 440 rounds for about $89, and then of course plus shipping. That means you're getting 20 rounds for about $4 plus shipping. That's incredible. In fact, you can even get 22 long rifle for that. So this is one of the cheapest guns to shoot. In fact, whether you're on a budget or not, to me, I highly recommend the Mosin Nagant because it's just too much fun.